Hey guys, it's Danny. Today I'm going to show you the little vampire crab, or the new vampire crab little habitat here that I put together because the biorb was just not working out, and I'll tell you why it didn't work out. I am so happy with this little enclosure. I do still have, except one, all of the vampire crabs that I had, and I just want to say from the beginning, yes, there is a mix of colors. I got them when I didn't really know much about them. I just saw them in the pet shop. I knew that if I didn't get them then and there, I would probably not have another chance. So it's not ideal. I would definitely, moving forward, if I have the chance to get some more, stick to one color. But I guess I'm lucky. I did not actually have fights and stuff and loss of limbs and stuff. And I do only have males here. They didn't reproduce because they're all males, but I didn't have major fights with them. So I decided to put them all together in this habitat, but I do want to say and admit that it's not ideal, and I will not do that moving forward. I don't know how long they still have, so I'm just gonna keep them together and just focus. If I ever have the chance to buy again, just try to buy one male, two females and have in here and see if I can get some babies. But for now, it is what it is. It's the crabs that I got. My mistake. I just want to tell you guys not to do that. That's why we have both red and purple crabs in here. Anyway, a long story short, let me show you how I put this together, and I'll come back to tell you a little bit about what I discovered caring for them, and also about the problems that I had with the biorb. Cannot seem to find a proper use for the biorb. I keep trying, but it doesn't work out. Okay, so let's go back in time a little bit. Alright, so I'll talk more about why the biorb became a nuisance towards the end of the video, but to give you a short resume, it was just very hard to maintain. Everything from removing dead leaves to just changing out the plants to just changing out the water in that little pool was close to impossible. And these animals do need some level of maintenance, maybe not daily, but even weekly maintenance was just a nuisance. So I decided to buy the most affordable terrarium that I found at the pet shop. And this was it. I have no idea what brand this is, but it is an approximately 40-liter terrarium that is about 10 gallons. It has a sliding door in front, which is great for access, and it also has a metallic mesh on top. One thing I don't like about it is those two plastic bits at the ends that take away from the light, but it's okay, it's not that bad. And bonus, it fits perfectly in my IKEA shelf, which displays my tiny aquariums and future terrariums, and it looks also very good. It is a Vjalbo shelf if you're interested. I'll put it on the screen. As for light, I'm using some quote-unquote grow lights. This is a term I use loosely because I really don't know what type of spectrum they have. They're just some LED tubes that I had around for years. I used to grow some orchids under them. Excuse my birds. They're not the greatest, but they produce a very nice warm light, which will look very great in my living room, where this shelf will end up. So I'm attaching it to the shelf with some acrylic adhesive. It's double adhesive, and I find it to be the greatest double adhesive. It does not leave marks, and it holds very well. So now let's do a leak test. You should always do leak tests with aquariums, terrariums, whatever you plan to use wet things in. And even though this will not be used as a paludarium of sorts, I will still have wet soil that can leak out and destroy the furniture. So after a few hours of keeping some water in the terrarium, I did not see any type of leakage. Wonderful news. This means we can go ahead and put our soil and decorate it without fearing leaks. Now, one thing I discovered with this terrarium and with another, I bought another one for another project, is that it comes pre-installed with scratches. It's not me creating those scratches. It's pre-installed with scratches. I need to buff them out in the future, and if you guys have some solutions, let me know what worked out for you. So for soil, I'm using the Reptisoil from ZoomMed. I find it to be a great soil, and as you can see, I do not have a drainage layer. This is a very tiny terrarium, and personally, I never use drainage layers in tiny terrariums. They take up too much space, and in my experience, they are really not all that useful. I use them in large aquariums and especially with automated watering. But here, I control the watering. It's not a lot of water. I don't need it. As for plants, Honestly, I don't know what type of plants these are. I'll do a little bit of research as I'm editing this video, and I'll put the names of these plants on the screen, but I do believe some of them are called polka dot plants. I chose the really pretty pink ones because they're just so pretty. The plant in front is actually an aquarium plant. It's a hydrocortile tripartita, which can definitely be grown immersed in high moisture conditions, and it took over the biorb. It looked beautiful, so I had to transfer it here as well. I'm also using some terrarium moss. The crabs really love the moss. They hide in it, they sometimes eat it, and the moss does great under these conditions. And maintaining the swimming pool and watering the plants is just this easy. And long term, this is really the most important thing. And everything just looks really, really cute. I kind of knocked down the light, but you know what? For the price, it's been a wonderful light over the years. Bonus, it comes with a little timer. You can set it to work 3, 6, or 12 hours, and it does that automatically. You do not need a timer, which is more than the biorb offers, to be fully honest. And the light is even prettier, especially if you use it in the house and you like those warm tones. Alrighty, now it is time to add the crabs. As I was saying, I do have multiple colors, but I have been lucky for whatever reason that I do not have fights, even though they're all males, not one female. But things have been pretty peaceful over the last 6 months. I've also decided to offer them a few caves to hide in, and I might add more, so I'm using these very tiny terracotta pots, which I place half into the soil, and then I put some hydrocortile or moss over them just to hide them a little bit. And I have to say, the vampires are always using them. That's why I want to add more. I want every crab to have his own little house, because 2 of them have claimed these terracotta pots and the rest of them, they're hiding in the plants. Speaking about plants in the swimming pool, I'm adding some floating plants, some tripartita because it can do well, and also some, I think you call it frog bit. And now it's time to offer a few treats to my crabs, which they actually grabbed immediately. They love these little crab and crayfish pellets. Now, another thing that I did just to maintain higher humidity is to add a plastic screen on top that I had around. I just cut it to size, and everything stays quite a lot more moist with that screen, especially for the moss. Actually, the moss is the most finicky plant that I have in this terrarium, and it needs high humidity. I have the terrarium going now for 3 weeks, and everything is going great. Alrighty, here we are. So, first and foremost, I am the type of person that if something is not comfortable to do, or it doesn't flow, or it's just stressful to do, I'm very prone not to do it. And especially when I had one of those days where I just had enough BS. I just had enough that day. The last thing I want to do is go stress myself maintaining the biorb. I don't want to do this today. I've had enough today. I'm going to do it tomorrow. Do I do it tomorrow? Maybe, maybe not. Depends on the day. So the biorb was very, very, very stressful to maintain, and that's a problem because these animals need some maintenance. They need feeding, they need that swimming pool, cleaned and changed, and adding fresh water to it. They need some of the plants trimmed or removed or replaced and so on, and everything is a nuisance to do in the biorb because you have that top opening, which is like this. It's not big, so you have to do this business to get to where you're going. Not only that, but also the jack where the fogger is on the top, that jack broke. I cannot remove it. It was always hard to detach. I was thinking, oh, maybe it's waterproof and that's why. But now it's stuck pretty much in there. I removed it and I broke it. Like the entire plastic bit came off, and I will be able to remove it like with a plier. And here's the thing, if you unplug the biorb, the whole day cycle and the moisture level and the fan settings, they get reset. You have to do it again. And it only works on a 12-hour setting, so you have to wait the next day in the morning to be on time to set it again so it gets the proper 12-hour cycle. What is this? What? It is 2024. We should not be doing that. No, I'm kidding. Instead of going through all of that stress just to time my biorb again, just because I needed to remove the fogger, which I didn't even get to clean at some point because I needed to put some vinegar in it to descale it a little. I'm using reverse osmosis water, but it still gets mild scale built up, very mild. After 6 months, yeah, it got a little scale there. I needed to clean. I couldn't clean it anymore because I just didn't want to go through the process of resetting all of the settings. You know, I'm that type of person. I know maybe it's weird, and if you're not like me, then I think the Biorb is great. Very expensive. It's not so great, to be honest, for how expensive it is, in my opinion. But, you know, I reached that point where everything was just such a hassle to do for these crabs, and they need maintenance. Even feeding was a problem because I wanted to put the food not in their little, you know, water tray or little pool. Even that was just a nuisance to do. And actually I got fed up when I noticed one of the crabs passed away. It's the first crab. I noticed that it didn't move for a day, and I thought, oh well, yeah, if it didn't move for a day, it's done. And I wanted to get it, and I could barely reach it, even like with a net. Ideally, I didn't want to use a net because I kind of damaged the plant. I didn't want to damage the plants, but I couldn't really reach it between the plants, not even with the net. And I was like, no, I've had about enough. And this was in the morning. So I waited for pet shops to open. I went to the closest pet shop and I got the most affordable terrarium that I found. And I knew that it could fit in this little space. And that was it. And I proceeded to redo their escape, and I'm just so relieved. If you've ever had like anxiety or things of the sorts, you know that these little details can reflect in your brain so much more than they actually are. So this little detail of now having the greatest of times, you know, removing the swimming pool, cleaning it up. I'm sorry, buddy. Oh, there's a guy in the water, in the swimming pool. I'm having so much of an easier time to do everything in this little enclosure now. The thought alone, it's like a weight to lift it off my shoulder. Have you ever experienced that? I'm so happy. I'm so happy. I think there are some things that I personally will do different moving forward. The swimming pool is one of them. So typically, and if you have the talent and the patience to create a, let's say, side of the tank for water only and make it like a sort of a tiny aquarium in there, you should definitely go for it. If you want to put like a little filter, again, go for it. I find that a little bit too much of a nuisance for me. For me, the little swimming pools are working so good, and the crabs actually use them and enjoy them. So it's much easier for me to have this little basin that I got from the pet shop. It's actually a reptile feeding dish, I guess. So I'd rather have that and get it out very fast, clean it and fill it with fresh water and put it back for them, put, you know, the floating plants for them, than to create a section of water. It's not something that I'm very talented at and, you know, I'm comfortable with doing, but I do believe the swimming pool idea works great. In this swimming pool, I did not put sand. In my experience, I've never ever seen them burrow in the sand. Never. They sit on top of the sand, they molt, they go and eat the little mosses or plants that I put in there, which is fine, it's great, they can eat whatever. I have so many floating plants, they can eat all of them, but they never actually burrow in the sand. I try to put as many plants as to kind of break the view from other crabs. If 2 crabs want to be in there, you know, they can be without fighting. They don't fight though. I'm lucky in that department. But other than that, I gave up the sand. It's a nuisance. I'm not gonna put sand in the dishes or the swimming pools. They're much easier to clean and much easier to see when they need cleaning. Sometimes they drag food in there, so I'm like, not again. So I have to clean it, and it's just much easier to clean without the sand. So that's one of the differences that I will keep. I work with swimming pools better than with, you know, it might look better to make a separate section of the tank with water, but you know, it's a bit of a nuisance for me. One thing that I put in this setup, again, which is inspired from the Indoor Ecosystem channel, they have some beautiful hiding places made out of glass from Etsy. They're a little expensive for me at the moment. I really like them. I will buy them one day because I think they're cute. But until then, what I did was I added some tiny terracotta pots. And I did see that some of the crabs did hide in them. So I think they like that. And yeah, other than that, they have done pretty well, and they will do much better with me maintaining this a lot better. Because let's face it, when we're working with plants, we need sometimes to remove some of the dead leaves and maybe switch the plant with a new one when it grows too high. And there's always something to do in these terrariums. And with the Biorb, it's just so hard to maintain. So yeah, definitely I would go for something like this. Which, you know, if you're interested, if you've never seen this type of terrarium, I'll find something on Amazon to link you to down below. I don't know what brand is this Jod thing. I have no idea. It's the cheapest thing I found. I didn't want to spend too much, but it works already so much better. Right, so this is the update on the vampire crabs. Hoping one day I can find some females. I will probably go for the red devil strain because I really like red. Can we tell? I like red, but I will keep the other two purples that I have here until, you know, they naturally pass away. But the whole appeal was like to have them multiply, which they didn't because they're all males. But anyway, I think it's time to wrap it up because I can blab, you guys know. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. I hope this inspires you if you're not into like the not half and half, like the water area. Yeah, I think the swimming pool idea is great. And these little dishes, they're not very expensive. I think I paid for this one like 12 euros or something last year from the pet shop. It's not that expensive. I think it's great, and I think it works great. You just need to clean it more often. And it's great if you put some plants in there just to make sure that the water stays relatively clean, even if you do change it pretty often. Right, so with that said, thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Let me know, how are you doing with your vampire crabs? Do you have like some other different setups that work out for you? Do you have some other ideas? Let me know in a comment below. So with that said, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!